Hey, we are outside the Venezuelan embassy. We are holding another rally. It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day for a rally outside. We had to take down some of the banners because of extreme wind here, so we decided to bring them outside instead and make sure that everyone on the streets here in Georgetown recognizes the importance of why we're here, recognizes the importance of protecting the embassy from U.S. imperialism and protecting not only the Vienna Convention but self-determination and autonomy of the Venezuelan people. So, you can see folks in their signs, and if you're in the DC area or able to get here, please do. We are looking for more people to come support. Everyone is welcome.
We're live on the Embassy Protection.
Hey, there's Margaret and Jackie and Lee.
We're going to rally.
It's a beautiful day for a rally. Horizontal is better.
The last time I tried streaming, I searched.
You always want, anytime social media, horizontal. Always.
And that public service announcement about live streaming was brought to you by the folks at the Embassy Protection. Always live stream horizontal, folks.
Okay.
Yay, Vanessa!
Good afternoon, everyone. We're gathered again outside the Venezuelan embassy, part of an ongoing protection effort of the embassy from this fake, unrecognized, U.S.-backed Juan Guaido opposition. And here we are gathered.
We have dozens of activists.
You need to sit on the ground. We have dozens of activists gathered here from Code Pink, Answer Coalition, Black Alliance for Peace, Popular Resistance, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, gathered to protect this embassy, which is the legal property of the Venezuelan government. Now, the war criminal, Elliot Abrams, is trying to say that we're here legally, but we're here at the request of the
Venezuelan government.
who is trying to hold on to the diplomatic buildings, many of which have been seized by the Guaido opposition. So we're going to continue to stay here until the Venezuelan government feels like this building is safe. So we're going to begin today with some chants. Hands up!
Venezuela!
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 Hands up! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey!
Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go!
Oh, ho! One Guaido has got to go! Hey, hey!
Guaido has got to go!
Alright, so we're going to have some people speak about why we're standing here, why we're protecting his embassy, and we're going to start off with Brian Becker, the National Director of the Answer Coalition.
I didn't. Okay. So, sisters and brothers, we're here. We're a coalition of organizations, and we're just individuals as well. And we've come together at the invitation of the lawful owners of this building. That would be the Venezuelan government. Some organizations in the media have characterized this as an occupation. We are not occupying this building. We are the invited guests and tenants of this building. People have been living here for several weeks. The idea that the U.S. government might come and seize this embassy, which they're planning to do, the only reason they haven't so far is because they don't and didn't expect us to be here. That's the only reason. But when they do, or if they do, if they get away with it, this will be an act of international piracy. This will be an act of violation of international law. The Vienna Convention makes all diplomatic compounds inviolable, meaning they can't be touched. Can Iran just, not that this wouldn't be a bad idea, designate Jill Stein to be the president of the United States and then seize the U.S. Embassy in Tehran? Well, of course, that would be treated as an act of war by the United States. Because guess what? It is an act of war. When you seize another country's embassy, you're violating international law and the Vienna Convention, and it is an act of war. So again, there's another issue here about our staying here, and it's very important. We are tenants and activists. People have been living here. The people you see, many of them have been staying here for weeks now. If the government of the United States wants to evict tenants in the District of Columbia, there are very particular procedures for evicting tenants. Put it this way, if I own a house and I sell the house to someone and there's a tenant living in the house, the government or the new owner cannot simply evict the tenant. They have to go through an eviction process. They have to go through eviction proceedings. There has to be due process. District of Columbia has very particular tenant rights. So none of those processes have been engaged in by the U.S. government. One, it's a violation of the Vienna Convention, and two, any eviction without going through those D.C. laws that protect tenants would also be a violation of law. So we are here legally, we are here lawfully, and most importantly, we're here with determination. We're not leaving. We're not leaving. We are not leaving. Let the message be heard loud and clear. We are, I didn't mean to say that. And by any means necessary. And it's a critical hour right now. So here's the thing. We're not leaving because the law is on our side. The U.S. government does not have the law on its side. In fact, it's violating the law. And there's another element of this. If the United States government gets away with doing this to Venezuela, what would stop them from doing it to Nicaragua? What would stop them from doing it to Cuba? What would stop them from doing it to any other country?
They've done it!
And in fact, they have done it. So this is one of those moments. This is, I think Medea Benjamin put it the other day well, that she said, it's rare when you can actually be part of and help make history. We use that expression as a sort of as a rhetorical flourish, but this is one of those moments, and we're not going to go. We're going to stay right here. Are you ready to stay here, everyone? Are we ready to All right, let's hear from some of the other speakers and some of the other organizations. Ariel Gold was, again, in Elliot Abrams' face the other day, calling him out. Let's listen. Ariel Gold, pro
I said to Elliot Abrams, war criminal! The Trump administration is trying to enact a coup on Venezuela. Shame! Shame! Shame on the Trump administration! Shame! Shame on Elliot Abrams! Shame! We know what happens when the U.S. intervenes in the affairs of other countries.
then we're going to chant. We're going inside because at 10 to 3 in 20 minutes because there's going to be a live stream. People from around the country will be watching. There's 3 people in particular that we want to hear, though, before we go upstairs. When we think about why this is happening, a lot of groups have come together. I'm with the Answer Coalition. We've come together. But it's really Code Pink and Popular Resistance that came together and anchored this event. They were the ones who have stayed here for weeks. It was their determination, their organization that made it happen. And I think we, in addition to, Medea's not here today, she's here in spirit, but Ariel Gold is here, one of the leaders of, or key organizers of Code Pink. Margaret Flowers, Dr. Margaret Flowers, and Kevin Zeese from Popular Resistance are here, and we want to hear from them. And then we also want to have Jacqueline Lookman from Black Alliance for Peace come up. So we'll have 3 more speakers, a little chanting, and then we want everyone to go in because we have to start the live stream promptly at 3 p.m. So, Dr. Margaret Flowers.
Wow, it's so great to see everybody here today. Thank you so much for turning out, and thanks to the folks that have been helping us hold it down inside. I want to make a couple. Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
His first protest.
I want to make a couple of points. One is, you know, we call these economic sanctions, but they're not really sanctions. Sanctions imply that there was some sort of a legal process that required a punishment. There was no legal process in this. These are actually unilateral, coercive economic measures or economic war being waged by the United States against Venezuela, and that violates the United Nations Charter. Now, I was down in Venezuela a few weeks ago, and I can tell you that in terms of food, there's plenty of food in Venezuela. Maybe not every food that you would like to see, but there's plenty of food. The problem is the prices. There's a very high inflation, and that's being caused by manipulation of their currency, by the economic coercive measures that are being used against Venezuela. And so the Venezuelan government is actually doing something that we don't do here. Every night in the United States, 41 million people go hungry. Right. Venezuela has 32 million people, and they deliver 6 million cases of food and goods to families once or twice a month, to 6 million families. That's like almost most of their population that they do that for. But one thing that you do see in Venezuela, and I think that this is, well, I don't think it is also a violation of international law, is that the measures that the United States has taken against Venezuela has caused them to have a decrease in the amount of pharmaceuticals available of 86%. Think of that, 86%. And when they tried to reach out to Turkey and Iran to buy medications, what did the U.S. do? We called Turkey and Iran and said, if you sell them medications, we're going to put sanctions on you. That's disgusting. So thank goodness Russia and China have stepped in and agreed to sell monthly medications and surgical supplies to Venezuela. And President Maduro is not opposed to assistance. He's just opposed to politically motivated assistance. He's opposed to supply lines being set up that are going to smuggle weapons into Venezuela. And do we have any illusion that Elliot Abrams is going to do anything else but try to smuggle weapons in there and feed their paramilitary mercenaries that they hire and place inside the country?
War criminal!
War criminal! Drop Elliot Abrams. So I think we need to be super clear in our language and also let people know that we're living in here. We're not occupying. We're trying to actually stop an occupation this time. We are living in. We are tenants living here. We are tenants who are working here, and we have the right to be here. We have the permission of the Venezuelan government. They actually didn't invite us in. We asked to be here, and they said, okay. They're allowing us to be here in solidarity and to serve as interim protectors until they can make a negotiation with the United States to keep this embassy safe. And so this is very powerful responsibility that we have to protect this building, to keep it clean and in good shape. Today the elevator broke down and Tide was able to fix it. Today, this morning, lots of people did an excellent job of cleaning inside. It's beautiful inside. And so we take this as a very important responsibility to keep this building safe until the Venezuelan government tells us that it's okay to let it go. So what do we say? Juan Guaido? Hell no! Juan Guaido? Hell no! Juan Guaido? It's got to go!
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you all for being out here. Power to the people of Venezuela. We are here in solidarity with the people of Venezuela. That's what we're here for. We're standing here because they can't be here, and we believe they have the power. They have elected a government, an election that was observed by more than 150 election observers a year ago. Unanimously, they found this was an election that met all international standards. There was no fraud, and President Maduro won that election with 67% of the vote. So that's what we're here for. And the other day, we were really pleased to have the Vice Foreign Minister speak to us by video conference at our forum, where he expressed his support for what we're doing, thanked us for the decorations that we put on the building, which unfortunately, I know some of you have seen the photos of the amazing banners, but it's kind of windy. So because we are protecting this building, we took the banners down. We didn't want them hitting windows, breaking glass. We took them down. We'll put them back up tomorrow when the wind dies down. So you have to come back and see it in real life and not in photos, but it's a glorious sight of this building standing tall against Trumpism, against U.S. coup d'etats. So we were very pleased to get the Vice Foreign Minister speaking to us, but then the night after that, the Foreign Minister spoke from the UN. And he also thanked the embassy protectors, the Embassy Protection Collection, for standing up for Venezuelan people, for protecting the embassy, for doing what the Vienna Convention requires a host government to do, protect foreign embassies. That, as Brian said, are inviolate. They cannot be violated. They cannot be trespassed on. And that we're so pleased to have him thank us, and he said that he would provide any support we wanted. We haven't asked for any support other than the permission to be in this building. Then the next day, we hear from embassy staff that President Maduro is watching this protest. And President Maduro is happy with what we're doing. And he also offered any support that we need. Again, we haven't asked for any, but he's also offered whatever we can do to help. So we are here lawfully. We are here with the permission of Venezuela and the elected government. We have not unlawfully entered. They've given us a key. We've not trespassed. They say we can be here. So if we are arrested by the Trump administration, that will be the violation of law. We will be unlawfully arrested. We've pledged publicly that we will hold those accountable who decide to arrest us and who carry out those arrests.
That's right.
Accountability will be met. We will make sure that those who violate the law will be brought to court and will pay for their crimes. In fact, it's a very unusual situation. If the U.S. government goes into this embassy, they're unlawfully entering.
That's right.
That's right.
If the U.S. government goes into this embassy, they are trespassing.
That's right. That's right.
We are here lawfully. We are not trespassing, not lawfully entering, and we are here to protect this. I mean, this morning we had a cleanup time before a lot of these folks got here. Those who are staying in the embassy spent an hour cleaning up because we want this place kept clean. We take care of it. We see this as kind of a sacred responsibility because we know we're standing in for the Venezuelan people. So we're here to say it's time for the U.S. to take its hands off Venezuela. Hands off Venezuela! 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 Thank you all for coming. Our last speaker before we have a
we need to go in and be there upstairs in time for the live stream is Jacqueline Lookman. Jacqueline Lookman is a representative of Black Alliance for Peace. Jacqueline.
So this demonstration, this whole 2-week demonstration, is a very simple issue of the right of a sovereign people to self-determination.
That's right.
6 million Venezuelans voted for Nicolas Maduro.
That's right.
It does not matter whether the United States government agrees with Maduro and his policies and the way he runs the government of his sovereign nation or not. It does not matter, because 6 million Venezuelans wanted him to lead them.
That's right.
And as a sovereign nation, as a sovereign people, they have a right to determine their own direction and future. As a member of Black Alliance for Peace, and as a Black woman married to a Black man in the United States of America, we understand the struggle of an oppressed, marginalized people in self-determination for our people. So we stand here as members and representatives of Black Alliance for Peace, but also as people who recognize the danger that American imperialism has played around the world in Black and brown countries all over this globe.
That's right.
And let's be clear that this is not just a Trump issue.
That's right.
This is a United States government issue. Because the United States has been overthrowing, propping up Western supporting puppet capitalist leaders, overthrowing governments, planning and implementing military and CIA covert coups in governments from Chile to Libya under the first Black president, Obama.
That's right.
In Haiti.
That's right.
And what they're doing now in Venezuela is just more overt. It's the same playbook that we have seen play out all across this globe for decades and decades. So Black Alliance for Peace recognizes that the struggle of the Venezuelan people is not just an issue of challenging American imperialism and challenging Trump, but it's also an issue of class struggle. It's an issue of working people determining for themselves who they want to represent them.
Yeah.
Not the capitalist selected representative of privatization and the 1% and the oligarchy and Juan Guaido that nobody voted for.
Right.
But in the former bus driver and socialist, Nicolas Maduro, the torch carrier of the Bolivarian revolution, which we stand here to protect, which we would love to implement in this country. So, as much as we might not be able to stay here overnight with the Embassy Protectorate Collective, let's support our comrades as they do hold this ground as tenants and stand in the gap for people in Venezuela for their right to self-determination against U.S. gangsterism and imperialism.
Jackie Lookman, Black Alliance for Peace. Thank you, Jackie. All right, in 10 minutes, we need to be all upstairs in our places, in our chairs for the live stream. People from all over the country are going to be watching this event. We're going to have some of the same speakers. We're going to also be joined by Lee Camp from Redacted Tonight. There you go, Lee Camp. And some others. So let's end up with some chants, and we're going to start marching into the embassy to be upstairs in time.
Thank you. Maduro, see, Yankee, no. Maduro, see, Yankee,